Looks like they're gonna tear it down and reclaim all that dirt. That was a gas station. This jackass going too slow here. That was nice of him, but he had the right of way. So the thing that irks me is the obvious thing. It's like, hey, I'm in the intersection and you're making your turn. About to run me slap over. So no, they want more than $200,000 for it. Mr. Leha.
How are you, sir?
Looking good.
You're looking good. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Thought I could say hi.
Hey.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Wendell. Hey, Wayman. How's it going? How are you?
Fine.
I'm saying hi to the GoPro.
I see that. I was like, I guess I don't have to cut you out for YouTube then.
That's right. What's going on?
Man, just walking, going to school. I mean, I used to say that all the time, not going to school anymore, just getting the house fixed up for the folks.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Your dad called me a couple weeks ago.
Did he?
Yeah. Said that he was thinking about my dad and told my dad to get right with the Lord.
Yeah.
I was like, good. Keep pushing it.
Yeah.
He needs to.
Yeah, he said he's been looking up everybody now. I guess as he gets up there in age, he looked up Marcus the other day, and
How's Marcus doing?
he's doing great. He came down and visited us. That was kind of a shock. I was on 2 Fridays ago, I think.
Where is he?
He's out there in I want to say Redbird or Cedar Hill, one of those places.
So he's not too far away.
No, he's not too far away, and he works here, so he stays with a friend here, and then he goes out there for when he's off. Yeah.
So I live in San Antonio now.
Okay.
I've been there for like 6 years.
Okay.
I used to work for Young Life. Have you ever heard of Young Life?
I think I have on the internet.
So a youth ministry.
Okay.
So I'm an ordained minister.
Okay.
You can believe that.
Congrats, man.
Thanks. So this is Haley.
How you doing?
This is Tony's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Tony's oldest daughter. She's 18. And
Okay.
then my three are right back here. So I've got a little one that's 6 weeks old.
Okay.
Isabella's in the middle. She's 5, and then Victoria's on the other side, who's 3.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're just moving right along. My wife's taking a nap at the moment, so we're just out running around.
Okay.
So, hey, you're looking good. I'm
Thanks.
impressed.
Thanks.
How's your brother?
He's doing great. Over there, he drives for I think FedEx now. I think that's when maybe my dad told you that also. But he got his own truck and he's living out there. We don't really know where he's living, but he's with a girl right now. So it looks like things are getting serious. So yeah.
Yeah, and I keep up with Joe Lynn on Facebook all the time.
He's still a preacher?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even know he was on Facebook.
Not too far from me. Oh yeah, you gotta look him up.
Okay.
Everything is Black Lives Matters, and he's an activist.
Yeah, it's a rough time right now. You know, all the stuff that I call us outsider Americans, all the stuff we fought for, we got to keep fighting for, and that's just the way it is, man. That's the American way.
Yeah. So he's definitely fighting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Hey, it was good to see you.
You too, man.
Bless you, my friend. We'll talk soon.
It's not until I see the eyes of the people I grew up with that I realize I'm getting old. Because everyone else, they put on like 10 pounds and 15 pounds, and they got a 5 o'clock shadow, and all those cute angelic faces I grew up with are now gruff, grizzled, fatter old men. And it shakes me a little bit. What also shakes me is that his niece sitting in that car next door, I remember when she was a baby. And that's when I start feeling old. You know, she winds up being this hot young woman, and I'm looking over there and I'm like, man, I remember when Daddy had to babysit. Granddad had to babysit. We'll never talk about Tony. I'm not clear on the details. I just know that he doesn't want to be a part of. He's lost. That's the simplest way to say it, lost. And not just in a religious sense. You know, I'm happy for him for the whole religion thing, but he's lost in he's just a person who doesn't know where he wants to be or what he wants to do. So he fights everybody. And only he can find himself. Only he can ask for the help and go through the right channels and avenues to get himself unlost or found. Well, that was 10 minutes I didn't have, but that was 10 minutes well spent. I am curious as to how everybody's doing. I just don't have time to check sometimes. Antonio. You see, I thought I heard about Young Life. I thought it was a dating site. Yeah, he's had an interesting life. We were all in the Boy Scouts together. That's Adam. Adam Leha, in case anybody's wondering about his ministry. We were in Boy Scouts together, a lot of other things. I think we played sports together at one point even. And he went from an aimless high school kid that got in a little bit of trouble to suddenly becoming, he found God at a young age. And he parlayed that into going to SMU because his dad worked there and he got a free ride to SMU. Then he had a degree in communications, I think it was. Started doing audio-visual for our church at Covenant. He was the punter on the SMU football team. That was back when they were still under the death penalty that killed that program. And he was a walk-on punter, still playing college ball against Division 1A teams, you know. That's the first time I've probably seen him in, I want to say 15 years. The only reason I knew who he was as soon as I saw his eyes. It clicked. We all have the same eyes. His brother and he. Man. It's been a long time. You know, and I keep reminding myself that I'm 40 or almost 40 years old. And stop feeling like a kid. Because I've been in a subversive, passive position for so long that it's hard for me to adjust or adapt to the fact that guys are looking up to me and saying, sir, and asking me for advice. I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm an old man now. Oh, they finally got rid of that. I think it just rotted away and then they finally just busted it up. Swinging by that line, this too shall pass. Well, you may think, well, wouldn't you know that you're almost 40 physically? And that's where I'm getting thrown off. I'm in better shape now than I was in high school, so I feel great. I do go to sleep sometime in the middle of the afternoon. I credit that more to getting less sleep than getting old. My recovery time is about 1 day, maybe 2. I thought my libido might be waning, but all that really is that I'm just and you've been lusting after women for Oh God, how long has it been? Over 20 years? Yeah, you get burned out. You're just like they said on the 40-year-old virgin, you get tired of putting women, it says you got to take women off a pedestal. Now you kept them up there for so long. And then I'm just seeing, you know, the reality. I mean, I made women out to be like enchanted elves whose skin glowed and they had magical powers, and us mere mortal men were lucky to be in their presence. Instead of seeing them for what they really are, profoundly flawed human beings who are just now finding their way, their own way. And so men have to back off for about 50 years and let them figure out who it is, their identity. We had to find them for so long that we're a little pissed off now. We're like, but you were fine the way you were. Why are you changing now? Because I can. And so they're gonna fuck up along the way, and they're just gonna move into it left and right and up and down, and eventually what comes out we'll all accept. It's just frustrating to live in this time where your biological clock is telling you pump, 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 pump. And the opposite sex saying, hold, tap the brakes on that for a second. I still got to figure out who I am and what I want. And you're like, son of a bitch. And so you say, well, while you figure out who you are, I'll be over here spanking it. And then eventually a man says, you know what? There are other things I could be doing. And that's why the general of a legion becomes Caesar. That's why pyramids get built. That's why guys come up with interesting theories about physics and calculus. Because one day they get tired of waiting. And they say, you know what? I'm going to do something else with my life. I'm going to put my energy into something else. Suddenly you have great works of art, great law, great human strides. I think the guys from Futurama got it wrong. They said that we do all these things to impress the opposite sex. The truth is, I think we do it in spite of them. For every guy who made an amazing discovery, there was a lot of released frustration. A lot of stuff going on today. You see, the weather got nicer. I say nicer because when you've been running around in 100-degree weather for a week and a half, and you come out here and it's 94 degrees, 94 is still hot, but it just doesn't feel like it. I'm walking around here yapping, carrying on. And that's because it feels great out here. It's hot, yeah, and the sun's beaming down on me, but there's a cool breeze that comes by every once in a while. Let's see the thing. The air will always be garbage, which is why I'm spitting out lots of dark colored phlegm, but bottom line is I can live a long time in misery, or I could die happy and young. I've chosen the latter. Every time I come out here, it's like I'm smoking a cigarette. I figure one cigarette a day isn't going to hurt me too badly. They're like, what happened to you? You have the lungs of a smoker. I used to run outdoors and also, why would you do such a fool thing? Because mankind was meant to run out in the open and not on a fucking treadmill. I'm not a hamster in a cage, man. I think that's the messed up part, is that people think you're crazy if you're exercising outdoors versus being in a man-made, boring, sterile environment. Your immune system doesn't even know what to do. After a while, it just says, you know what, I'm tired of you doing everything in this laboratory environment. I'm going to start attacking you. And you start having autoimmune disorders. Your body's attacking itself and it's committing suicide. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to start tearing you apart. And for the briefest of moments, I said, oh, I thought that was his wife. His niece. I was like, crap. Go in a dirty old man mode, so hey baby, you see anybody? Like, no. Although, I'm looking at the whole sugar daddy angle and I'm thinking, it's worked for hundreds of years, no reason to stop it now. You always crack up where people say, no, you need to hang around people your own age. And I'm thinking to myself, some of the greatest people in history had older mentors that they hung out with. You only get better with experience, and if someone's sharing theirs with you, you can only get better. But I digress. I'll leave the world the way it is to come up with its own flawed theories about how society should be run, and laugh the whole way. There's 7 billion people on a planet that can't sustain those 7 billion people. People got some pretty stupid notions and ideas on how to handle everything. Like every 20 years, we have to question why we do things the way we do it. And if it doesn't seem to make sense, then we stop doing it. But we don't do that. You just blindly follow, oh, why do we do it this way? That's the way we always done it. Someone else called in. I was like, man, if this dude ain't got this stuff cut, I'm going to call it now. Either that or he saw that I broke one of the branches and got the hint. So yeah, predictions for the future. No matter how I try to wrap my mind around it, we will probably get to 9 million people. The earth will start getting becoming a really hard place to live. There'll be wars and drownings and everything else, and the population will reduce to about 1 billion, and that billion won't have an easy life, and suddenly their numbers will get whittled down to about, I don't know why I'm getting this round number of 500,000 or so, and then from that 500,000 everything will start over again. Hopefully this time, like I said, mankind will get it right. But if you want to know where humanity's future is, it's underwater and underground. We're not working hard enough or fast enough to get off the planet, so we're stuck on this mud ball. So we best start learning how to crater our way in. house they tore down used to belong to that hippie. All the colorful characters in these neighborhoods are disappearing. Used to drive a VW van. Had interesting house parties. I think a pilot used to live here. These people moving in and out, they're boring. Live in a big house and work all the time. It's a little depressing. I keep thinking I'd stay here forever and they get a nice place somewhere. Actually, I never thought about staying here forever. I just thought I'd get a nice place somewhere. Your average American can't afford to live in a nice place, so you're living in an area that's a little dicey, a little run down, a little hand me down. I will try to make the best of it. I thought, hey, graduate from school. Get a job that pays a halfway decent salary. I said, if I can make at least $1,000 a week, I'll be fine. That won't even get you a whiff into the gates of the nice areas. Just like, wow, really? Yeah. Because it used to be you were just competing with other Americans, and now whole world mistakenly tries to move over here because they think, oh, this is going to be great. No. They found out what the middle class finds out, man, that American dream is expensive. Yes, it is. And then they leave back home, and back home turns into a pit. Some of those places improved, though. It's like, man, it's better over there than it was over here. Like, I think in the old days where people made jokes about Canada, now Canada's the promised land. Socialized medicine, plenty of jobs. Canadian dollar stronger than the US dollar. So I'm still wrapping my mind around that one. For about my entire childhood and teenage years, one of the things that was kind of consistent was that Canadian dollar was usually worth about 87 cents on the US dollar. Now it's flipped the other way. It's like one Canadian dollar is worth 1.2 American dollars. That's been kind of consistent ever since the Bush years. He really messed up this country, didn't he? Yes, he did. And he got away with it. We put people in jail for destroying a few lives, lock them away and throw away the key. But the guy who destroys millions of lives lives comfortably and paints pictures down the street. You destroy over 1 million lives. How do you live with yourself? Quite comfortably, and every once in a while you go on a talk show circuit and help your brother try to become president. Although he's hurting his brother's campaign. His brother has to sheepishly say, "I think my brother did right." Sure he did. That's why he's not always on the campaign trail. Your brother's a former U.S. president, you don't want him around. But you support his decisions. That's like Mag Magazine. Your body says one thing, but the shadow's telling on you. Jeb Bush's shadow is throwing George under the bus. But like I said, I ain't gonna worry about the damage that's been done. ISIS is the monster that's grown out of the Bush interference. Unfortunately, ISIS will never completely go away, but the good news is it won't be as powerful as it is now. Because it's not up to the United States or any other foreign power to figure out what's going on over there. Ultimately, the people of the Middle East says, "Alright, you guys messed it up and we keep asking you for help and you keep making it worse. Just leave us alone. We'll figure it out ourselves." Europe didn't have any big brother to get over its religious wars. It took it over 600 years to figure it out. So unfortunately, it may take the same amount of time with the Middle East. The Western world it's kind of like an example as an accelerator. You can use an accelerator. It's like, wait, they tried that in the West. Didn't work for them. Let's try this way. That didn't work either. In other words, the West has a ton of religious mistakes that the Middle East can learn from. And I'm saying is if they stop making the religious mistakes, but you know. Like I said, when the guy you're getting your policy from hasn't talked to mankind formally in over 2,000 years, you probably need a new strategy. When you find out that the Earth is not 6,000 years old, or the center of the universe, you probably need a new strategy. When you find out that life on this planet probably began as a comet that crashed into the deep oceans and life over a billion years, not a billion years, but over millions of years, carved itself out into this condition, you probably need a new strategy. And what is this new strategy? Like I said, every 20 years, you figured out what you learned, compare it to what you've been told, and if the two don't quash quite well, then it's time to redo the theories. That's science. It's not hard to embrace. It's like, hey, wait a minute. We had a theory about how this works, and it worked for a while, but we found new evidence that makes that theory kind of weak. Well, can we do something to the theory? Yeah, we can revamp it and add some stuff here. Just come up with a new one. Okay. We don't do that. Even the political realm could really do it. The political and legal realm could definitely do it with a little scientific method. Like I said, according to the books, I'm 3/5 of a man, but I can vote. And every 40 years or so, we have to figure out whether or not I deserve all the rights that everyone else gets by default. Can you imagine an operating system like that? Every time you want to install something in the computer, it has to sit there and figure out, wait a minute.